Hey guys, today we'll be discussing the origin of Supergirl. Supergirl has been in the comics for a long time now, as long ago as since the 80s actually, and over these years she has been a phenomenal character in terms of adding to the story continuity of the old DC universe as well as the new 52. It was through her that we got the first instance of another Kryptonian in the DC universe. Not just that, we also got a couple of insights into Superman's past as well. This video will be discussing the main origin story of Supergirl, or Kara Zor-El. There have been other iterations over the years over various media platforms, but this is the one that is generally referred to when you say Supergirl. This video will also cover her live action appearances, whether it be her first time on screen in that 1984 movie or her more recent roles such as in Smallville. We will also cover the Kara aka Supergirl we see in the new Flash movie trailer. Thanks for tuning in with us, and without wasting any more time, let's dive into it. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, let's begin. Exploring the origins and backstory of Supergirl. So, the story or the concept of a female version of Superman was first piloted in an issue of Action Comics back in 1958. In this iteration, Superman had saved the life of an archaeologist and in return was rewarded with an ancient relic. Superman in turn gave it to his best friend Jimmy Olsen, who uses the artifact to get 3 wishes granted that can be undone if the stone embedded in it is rubbed. One of those wishes was to create a female Superman to help him on his missions. This was probably because Superman saved his life once and he wanted to return the favour. So technically, this Supergirl was wished into existence, so to speak. Initially, she would be quite helpful. However, as time passed, her obsession with Superman got a bit too extreme. Thing is, this Supergirl was meant to be the immortal partner that Superman could probably never have otherwise. Then, somehow, she uncovered Superman's identity, and what's worse, she accidentally revealed it to Lois Lane. Understandably, Superman was really angry and asked Supergirl to stay away for a while, but in the end, she ended up following him on a mission just to save him from some kryptonite that a bunch of criminals had got their hands on. She took the brunt of the impact from the kryptonite and was heavily weakened by it. In her dying moments, she went to Jimmy and begged him to undo his wish. So, in the end, Supergirl didn't die of kryptonite poisoning, but just vanished, as if she never existed. This issue was really well received by the fans, so the writers figured that maybe it was about time to introduce another Kryptonian into the universe. Enter Kara Zor-El. Her story is that when Krypton imploded, the city that she lived in broke off cleanly, so the people that were in the city managed to continue living for quite a long time. The only problem was that radiation had created a layer of kryptonite on the surface. Oh, and did we mention that Kara's father in this story is Zor-El, Jor-El's brother, hence Superman and Supergirl are cousins. Anyway, the Kryptonians decided to make a layer of lead over their city to keep the kryptonite radiation out. However, this didn't last forever, and when a meteor shower poked a huge hole through their ceiling, Zor-El sent Kara in a stasis pod towards Earth. Upon reaching Earth and meeting up with Superman, they realised they were cousins. However, Clark did something a little unusual but understandable. He put her in an orphanage and made her wear a pigtail wig and human clothes. His idea was to raise her so that she could live like a human in their world before taking on her role to be something greater. However, just like most teens, Kara got frustrated sitting in her room all the time while her brother was out saving the world. She lived under the name of Linda Lee, but soon began going out at night to patrol her city for crooks. Later on, she became a more frequent and important supporting character in subsequent Superman comics. This version of Supergirl would meet her end. However, in Crisis on Infinite Earths, where she would give her life in order to save Kal-El, this made sure that there was no more Kryptonian Supergirl left in the universe. We did get a few other iterations of Supergirl or Power Girl, but they weren't Krypton related. Kara Zor-El would return, however, with a new origin story in the New 52. In the New 52 origin, Zor-El had truly believed his brother, who said their planet was dying. Since his appeal to the council went unheard, he made plans to safeguard the city of Argo by installing machines that looked like generators all over the place. However, he was concerned that this wouldn't be enough to keep the city together, so he made made a contingency plan for his daughter. Basically, he had taken his brother's schematics for the stasis pod that he would use to send Superman to Earth and created one for Kara. Meanwhile, Kara was getting excited to undergo the trials that would usher her into adulthood in Kryptonian society. Zor-El used her excitement to trick her into the pod. He called her over to his lab, and inside the pod was the Supergirl suit that she would have eventually gotten after completing the trials. After donning the suit, however, she loses consciousness and her father puts her into the pod and sends her off. Zor-El had initially planned that Kara would reach Earth and teach Kal-El the ways of Krypton, or at least help him live a life where he wasn't alone. Problem was that the stasis pod must have been damaged in transit because it accidentally ended up orbiting the sun for 18 years before landing on Earth. By this time, Kal-El had already grown up as Superman on his own. Kara's stasis pod landed somewhere in Russia, where she got a frigid welcome from a bunch of Russian soldiers in super high-tech armoured suits. Obviously, Kara didn't understand a word of what they were saying to her, so soon enough they opened fire. She fought back in self-defense and even discovered her heat vision. She was pretty much winning the fight until Superman showed up. Supergirl was brought back in 2004 by Jeff Lieb. The story of Superman or Batman, Supergirl begins with Batman and Superman discovering a mysterious Kryptonian spaceship that has crashed on Earth. Upon investigating the wreckage, they discover a young girl inside the ship who they soon realise is actually Superman's cousin, Kara Zor-El, also known as Supergirl. Superman and Batman take Supergirl under their wing and try to help her adjust to life on Earth. They quickly realise that Supergirl has incredible powers similar to Superman's, and they work together to train her and help her understand how to control her abilities. However, they soon discover that Supergirl has been targeted by Darkseid, a powerful intergalactic villain who seeks to use her powers for his own nefarious purposes. Darkseid sends his minions to Earth to capture Supergirl, leading to a series of intense battles between Superman and Batman and the forces of Apocalypse. As the story unfolds, Supergirl comes around as a hero on her own, learning to use her powers to help others and protect the people she loves. She also learns about her Kryptonian heritage and the history of her family, including about her cousin Superman. Throughout the story, Supergirl plays a central role as she is both the target of Darkseid's evil plans and the key to defeating him. Her growth as a character from a confused and scared girl to a confident and powerful hero is a major focus of the story, as is her relationship with Superman and Batman. In the end, Supergirl proves herself to be a worthy hero in her own right, standing alongside Superman and Batman to defeat Darkseid and save the world. Her role in the story is one of courage, strength and determination as she overcomes her own fears and doubts to become a true superhero. Supergirl was portrayed by Helen Slater in the live-action movie. The 1984 movie Supergirl follows the story of Kara Zor-El, Superman's cousin, who travels to Earth to retrieve the Omegadron, a powerful Kryptonian artifact that has been stolen by a witch named Selena, played by Faye Dunaway. Throughout the film, Supergirl is portrayed as a confident, capable hero who is determined to complete her mission and protect Earth from Selena's dark magic. As Supergirl, played by Helen Slater, the character is shown to be an adventurous and free-spirited young woman who is eager to explore the world around her. She possesses many of the same powers as Superman, including flight, super strength, and heat vision, and she uses these abilities to fight against Selena and her minions who are trying to use the Omegadron for their own evil purposes. Supergirl's role in the film is central to the plot, as she is the only one who can retrieve the Omegadron and prevent Selena from using its power to take over the world. Along the way, Supergirl is helped by a young man named Ethan, who becomes her ally and love interest. Throughout the movie, Supergirl is portrayed as a brave and determined hero who is willing to risk her life to protect others. She battles Selena's minions, including a powerful monster called the Shadow Demon, and engages in a final showdown with Selena herself in a climatic battle that takes place in a mystical dimension. Will the new Flash movie features Supergirl in a key role. There is a new Flash movie coming out, and with Henry Cavill no longer in the cast as Superman, the DCEU needed a new Kryptonian to take his place. Enter Kara Danvers. So far in the trailer of the movie, we have seen that the story will focus on the Flashpoint paradox. In this parallel universe, the government has held Kara captive and been performing experiments on her for a long time. Unlike the original story, where a captive Superman was rescued but just left anyway, Supergirl in the Flash trailer seems to stick around and help him in a full House of El uniform. We don't know much else about the story because the movie isn't based on the Flashpoint storyline, but just influenced by it apparently. Sasha Calle will play the role of Kara, and the movie will see the return of General Zod, as well as another Batman. Yep, Michael Keaton is coming back as Batman after all these years. Irrespective of all the other tidbits, this movie might just be a really good one that could possibly begin the exploration of Supergirl or Kara Zor-El in the DC Extended Universe. Others who took up the mantle of Supergirl. There have been a few others that have taken up the Supergirl mantle apart from Kara, as we've mentioned before. One of them is Matrix. Matrix was introduced in the early 1990s during a time when the Supergirl character was being reimagined in various ways. In the comics, Matrix was an artificial life form created by a group of aliens known as the Creators. She was designed to be a shapeshifter with the ability to take on any form she desired. Her creators intended for her to be a warrior who would fight in their battles, but Matrix had other plans. After becoming disillusioned with her creators' violent ways, Matrix fled to Earth, where she took on the form of a young woman called Linda Danvers. She soon found herself drawn to the heroic legacy of Supergirl and decided to adopt that identity, taking on the costume and name of the original Supergirl. As Supergirl, Matrix possessed many of the same powers as her predecessor, including flight, super strength, and heat vision. However, her shape-shifting abilities gave her some unique advantages, such as the ability to change her size and shape to fit different situations. During her time as Supergirl, Matrix fought alongside various other superheroes, including Superman, and became a beloved member of the DC Comics universe. However, her time as Supergirl was relatively short-lived, as the character was eventually replaced by a new version of Kara Zor-El, the original Supergirl, who had been killed off years earlier. Power Girl is a version of Supergirl who first appeared in All-Star Comics number 58 in 1976. She is the Earth 2 counterpart of Supergirl and is often associated with the Justice Society of America. Power Girl's real name is Kara Zor-El, and she is the cousin of Superman. Like Superman and Supergirl, she was born on the planet Krypton and sent to Earth before the planet's destruction. However, her arrival on Earth was delayed, and by the time she arrived, she was already a young woman. Power Girl possesses many of the same powers as Superman, including flight, super strength, and heat vision. However, her powers are often depicted as being slightly weaker than those of Superman, and she is more vulnerable to certain types of attacks. One of the most distinctive things about Power Girl is her costume, which features a distinctive cutout in the front that exposes her cleavage. The in-universe explanation for this is that her costume was designed by her Kryptonian mother, and that the window was meant to be a symbol of strength and courage. Over the years, Power Girl has been a member of various superhero teams, including the Justice Society of America, the Justice League, and the Birds of Prey. She has also had her own solo comic book series and has appeared in many other DC Comics titles. Then there is Zor-El. This is the daughter of Superman and Lois Lane from some future timeline. The details on her origin are quite cloudy, and she is one of the more recent Supergirls to release in 2003. Her real name is Mia, and she also has the same powers as Power Girl does, and has a suit nearly identical to Supergirl's. We don't really know that much about her, except that she has encountered the Teen Titans and the Justice League before that, and she hasn't exactly been a very frequent running character. Some of Supergirl's memorable story arcs. Coming to terms. Soon after the fight in Russia, Kal-El explains to Kara that he is her cousin from Krypton. This is obviously a little hard to comprehend for Kara, because she remembers seeing Kal-El as a baby just a few days ago. Not being able to believe anything Superman tells her, she starts fighting him. A fight between two Kryptonians started doing some damage to the surroundings and the people around them. It's basically a fight between two superhumans, and we all know how those lights turn out. Soon enough, Kara notices that she is damaging property and hurting people, so she quiets down. Clark tries to explain to her that Krypton was destroyed a long time ago, and that they were the only two that are left in this world from their planet. A mini Lex Luthor. Once Kara had calmed down a bit, she returned to her stasis pod, only to find that it was no longer there. Instead, in its place was a hologram of someone called Simon Tycho. Not understanding his words at all, she ended up following the projector that created the hologram into a space station orbiting the planet. However, upon reaching, she is attacked. Even though she tries to defend herself, a tiny bit of kryptonite that had gotten stuck on her pod during Krypton's explosion knocked her out. When she woke up, she saw that a person named Jacob was trying to rescue her despite his employer's orders. Once Simon finds out, he has Jacob killed. Kara just loses it and destroys the entire space station. Not without taking back her Kryptonian sunstone first though, although problem was that it was slightly damaged. Another Kryptonian? Kara is just full of despair at this point because she has lost her world and her family in the blink of an eye. Considering her newfound abilities, she wonders if she could just fly back to Krypton. On her way there, however, the sunstone she recovered begins to light up, signifying a nearby hyperspace portal. Once she goes through, she reaches whatever remained of Krypton. She finds that the city of Argo had broken off cleanly and was now orbiting a blue star. On flying down to the city, however, Kara realizes that there really isn't anyone left there anymore. Once there, she uses the sunstone and discovers a message saved by her father. He told her that the history of Krypton and all their scientific knowledge was stored in that sunstone. At the end of the transmission, however, we see that he gets attacked by some unknown assailant. Kara cries out in sorrow and grief once she sees the truth with her own eyes. This, however, ends up attracting someone known as Rain. Rain offers her a hand to help her find a new home or a new life. However, at the moment, Kara is distrusting of everyone and thinks that maybe it was Rain who had killed everyone on Argo as well as her father. Supergirl immediately starts to fight Rain, but to no avail because she gets pinned to a wall by Rain's broken sword. Rain explains that she's one of the Word Killer's creations of Zor-El, that he had deemed too dangerous to be left alive before flying off towards Earth. The next encounter takes place after Supergirl musters the strength to break free from the sword and sets out to confront Rain back on Earth. Supergirl initially approaches Rain with a peaceful overture, hoping to convince her to abandon her mission of destroying National City. However, Rain is resolute in her beliefs and attacks Supergirl without warning. The two engage in a fierce battle that showcases their immense physical strength and the full range of their powers. As the fight intensifies, Supergirl begins to realize that Rain is not an ordinary opponent. She notes that Rain's strength and fighting style are different from that of other Kryptonians she has fought in the past. Supergirl also begins to sense a darkness and ruthlessness in Rain that is unsettling and distinct from the noble and compassionate nature of Kryptonians like Supergirl herself. Despite her initial efforts to reason with Rain, Supergirl ultimately realizes that she must stop her at all costs. In the process of the battle, 3 other Word Killers also show up. Once again, Rain offers Kara to join them in exchange for leaving Earth unharmed. She refuses again and begins to fight them. She fares against them quite well, to be honest, considering she hasn't been awake very long and just went through tremendous trauma. The battle culminates in a dramatic showdown, with Supergirl using all of her strength and ingenuity to defeat Rain. This first interaction between Supergirl and Rain sets the stage for their ongoing conflict and establishes the high stakes and complex moral dilemmas that will define their relationship. It also showcases Supergirl's strength, courage, and determination, as well as Rain's formidable power and uncompromising beliefs. A really loud friend. Soon after the battle between Kara and the Word Killers is over, she ends up being surrounded by the US military. However, she still speaks only Kryptonian. They don't understand each other, and the soldiers are obviously wary and trigger ready. Right before things start heating up, a silver-haired woman shows up and tries to reason with the army. For some reason, she can understand Kryptonian despite never heard or spoken it before. As the short-haired woman known as Siobhan Smith tries to reason with the soldiers begin to get ready to fire at them. At the last second, Kara understands and reads the situation, quickly grabbing Siobhan and flying away with her. They talk on a rooftop for a bit before being tailed by a chopper. Kara easily takes down the chopper and the both of them continue to fly off. Siobhan is quite nice to Kara though and offers to help her get settled on Earth. They go to Smith's place and put Kara into some normal human clothes so she won't get recognised. Later on, they go out for a girls' night to a club but end up getting attacked by the Black Banshee. This also happens to be Siobhan's father. A fight breaks out, and since Black Banshee uses magic, Supergirl is hit really hard since Kryptonians are vulnerable to magic. Siobhan transforms into the Silver Banshee now and attacks her father. The two of them manage to escape the Black Banshee for a bit before being found again. In the next battle, Kara uses a solar flare, one of her strongest attacks, on Black Banshee. However, this doesn't do anything at all because he simply eats it all up with his magic. He also consumes Supergirl and sends her into a pocket chamber, somewhere that he's been using to keep Siobhan's brother a prisoner as well. Kara fights her way out while escaping with Siobhan's brother just in time for the Silver Banshee to defeat her father. Siobhan ended up eating her father and keeping him trapped inside her the same way her father had trapped her brother for all those years. Kryptons Resurrection. Zor-El on Earth is a crossover event that took place across several Superman titles including Superman, Action Comics and Supergirl, and it lasted for several months in 2012 to 2013. The story begins by introducing us to Zor-El, a Kryptonian who has come to Earth with a plan to save the remnants of Krypton. Zor-El claims to have the knowledge and technology to recreate Krypton and bring back his people, and seeing no harm in the plan and an opportunity to see Krypton and her family again, Supergirl joins in. At first, Supergirl is drawn to Zor-El and his vision, feeling a sense of kinship with another survivor of Krypton. However, as the story goes on, Supergirl starts to doubt Zor-El's methods and becomes more and more conflicted about her loyalties. Meanwhile, Superman and the other heroes of the DC universe become aware of Zor-El's presence and begin to investigate. They soon discover that Zor-El's plans to recreate Krypton would require the destruction of Earth, and they set out to stop him. As the story unfolds, Zor-El begins a massive attack on Earth, using his powers and technology to wreak havoc and destruction. Supergirl is torn between her loyalty to her people and her adopted planet, but ultimately she decides to stand with Superman and the heroes of Earth. The final confrontation takes place on the moon, where Zor-El has set up a massive device called the Star Chamber that he plans to use to recreate Krypton. Superman, Supergirl and the other heroes battle Zor-El and his Kryptonian minions, and in the end they are able to destroy the Star Chamber and stop Zor-El's plan. The aftermath of Zor-El on Earth storyline has long-lasting repercussions for Supergirl and the other characters involved. Supergirl is forced to confront the fact that she may never be able to return to Krypton, and she must find a new purpose and identity as a hero on Earth. The storyline also sets the stage for future storylines in the Superman family of titles, including the introduction of new villains and the changing dynamics of Superman's relationship with his allies. Supergirl's Fortress of Solitude. Once while having lunch with Siobhan's brother Tom, she gets attacked by a humanoid made with nanotechnology. It almost seemed like the thing was alive. What was most surprising was how it managed to find and recognize Supergirl when she was in normal human attire. She begins getting a bit concerned and decides to go to Kal-El for answers. At his Fortress of Solitude in the Arctic, she brings him of the nanotech remains. After analysing it, they find that the source of the signal that has been controlling the bot was coming from deep beneath the ocean. Upon reaching this place, Kara finds a Kryptonian sanctuary. On entering, she is greeted by Simon Tycho, who immediately says he's the one who planned the attack. Kara beats him up and imprisons him before taking full control over the sanctuary herself. Soon enough, she realises that the sanctuary was always meant for her as a gift of inheritance from her father, much the same way the Fortress of Solitude was for Kal-El. What makes Supergirl a force to reckon with? This goes without saying, but we all know that Superman is arguably the strongest and most superpowered character in the DC universe. Being Kryptonian and exposed to our yellow sun has made him tremendously strong and grants him various abilities as well. So it only makes perfect sense that Supergirl would be just as powerful. There's technically no difference between Superman and Supergirl, physiology speaking, at least. So, just like him, she can fly and has extremely enhanced hearing and sight. light. Kara also has the signature heat vision and X-ray vision as well. Her strength is such that it wouldn't be surprising to see her fly around with a skyscraper on her back. She also has good control over her breath, meaning she can hold a lot of air in her lungs as well as blow freezing winds from her mouth whenever she wants. Another ability that can cause tremendous destruction and can harm even Wonder Woman is her solar bomb. This ability enables her to focus her energy and release it at one go, significantly damaging anyone and anything around her. Another crazy little bit of info is that we have seen a Red Lantern Supergirl. This version looked extremely cool, and Kara got even stronger than she already was. This one was a really good arc that showed an extremely powerful Supergirl. Conclusion. So there you have it, guys. We've covered most of the important bits about Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl. To be fair, this character has been around for so many decades that a full in-depth video would be at least 6 hours long. So we've managed to fit in most of the important information that you'd want to know in this one. She is the only other Kryptonian superhero in the universe apart from Superman, and has truly been a force to be reckoned with, as well as a symbol of hope to many. She has been incorporated into so many storylines and has played pivotal roles in some major arcs. Supergirl has been a fan favourite ever since her inception back in the day and lives rent-free in our hearts till date. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.